Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about angles and degree measures, so just kind of an intro to some of the trig that we're going to be doing in Chapter 5. We have three main objectives. The first one, we need to learn the two primary ways that angles are expressed in degrees. So in a lot of mathematics situations, we'll describe angles in degree measure, but we'll use decimals. However, if you start looking at the way positions are recorded in GPS situations, then a lot of times it's recorded in degrees, minutes, and seconds. So we need to convert between the two of them. A situation where that would come in handy is when you're looking up the exact coordinates of a location on Google Maps, but then you need to enter that GPS location into the device in your car. We also want to be able to relate rotations with degrees, and we also want to be able to simplify angles that are coterminal with smaller numbered angles. So here's a little bit of terminology. We're always going to measure angles from an initial side to their terminal side like this. So angles are measured in a counterclockwise fashion typically. So here we have a couple of examples. We have the initial side on the x-axis, and then we're measuring towards the terminal side, again counterclockwise, 180 or 120 degrees. Here we have the initial side again on the x-axis, but we're measuring clockwise, and so you can see the angle is negative. So if we measure something clockwise, we give it a negative sign to indicate that we're measuring in the opposite direction. And then again here we have our initial side on the x-axis and our terminal side on the y-axis, and those are 90 degrees apart. We're measuring counterclockwise, so it's positive. So the difference between a degree, a minute, and a second here is 60. So it shares a very similar relationship to time. That's why it's got similar nomenclature, because the subintervals are basically the same. So 1/60th of a degree is a minute, and 1/60th of a minute is a second, which is a relationship that you're probably familiar with. So let's look at an example where we need to convert from a decimal that's expressed in degrees into a decimal that's expressed in degrees, minutes, and seconds. So here we can see we have a decimal. It's in degrees. But it's expressed in decimal form, and we want to convert to degrees, minutes, and seconds. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that decimal portion out. So we're going to have 15 degrees, and then we need to figure out the minutes and seconds. So what we're going to do is inside this decimal portion here is the minutes and the seconds added together, and we know that the minutes are 1/60th of a degree. So what we'll do is we'll add 0.735 times 60. And that's going to end up being our minutes. So we'll get a calculator here real quick. And so it looks like it's 44. Now we got another decimal. So what we'll do is we'll take that decimal bit, and that'll be our minutes. So we'll have 15 degrees plus 44 minutes plus, this will be our seconds, plus 0.1 times 60, and that's going to be our seconds. So we don't need a calculator for that. We know that it's 6. So we're going to have 15 degrees plus 44 minutes plus 6 seconds. All right. Okay, so what I'd like for you guys to do now is you guys will pause the video and try an example on your own. And then when you're done, you can go look in the notes and see what the answer was. So try converting this number. So 329.125 degrees. Convert that into degrees, minutes, and... Alright, so let's try an example that's the other way around. So we've got 39 degrees and 5 minutes and 34 seconds. So we want to convert this into the decimal equivalent. So let's look. So we know that the whole number portion is going to be 39 point, and then we're going to add this and this to it. And remember that 5 minutes is a 60th of a degree, and seconds is a 60th of a minute. So we're going to end up dividing that twice by 60 to get it to be a degree. So putting that together, we're going to have 39 plus 5 divided by 60 plus 34 divided by 60 squared. And that gives us 39.09. We'll just round it and say 3. Okay, so again, I'm going to give you guys an example to try on your own. Pause the video. Then you can check your answer in the notes. Sometimes angle measures are expressed in terms of rotations, like rotations per minute in a car maybe. So for example A here, we have got 5.5 rotations clockwise. What's important to realize here is that clockwise is the opposite of the way that we usually measure angles. So this is going to end up being negative because of that. 5.5 rotations. The word rotation means one complete revolution, so 360 degrees. So we'll have 5.5 times negative 360 degrees to get our degree measure. So we can use a calculator for that. And we get negative 1,980 as our degree measure. So here in the second example, it's counterclockwise, so that's the positive way of measuring it. So we'd have 3.3 times 360 degrees. And we get 1,188. So let me give you guys an example to try on your own. So let's say we have 9.5 rotations clockwise.